Shalom, we give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and to the bishops, and to the hopefully elect. Shalom to you. Hope you're in good spirits. Your brother Shema Amar from the DC camp. We do these lessons for the edification of the house of Dawadah. And we're just going to get straight to the video. I want to title this To Frustrate Our Purpose. To frustrate our purpose. Now, the purpose of the Hebrew Israelites, or the Israelites, is to keep God's commandments and faith in Yahushua, who the world called Jesus, until the time of the refreshing, through the time of refreshing, until he comes back, talking about Yahushua, until he comes back and bring his kingdom here on earth. The kingdom of heaven is here on earth, and what you have today are people, nations, governments who try to frustrate our purpose. We're going to get into why this is happening. Is a bigger picture that has to be drawn out to show why is this happening and how can they get away with trying to frustrate us as Hebrew Israelites and being who we are. If we're not who we say we are, you're supposed to allow us to believe what we want to believe. If this is not part of the Constitution of the United States to have an opinion, form an opinion, believe in something because what you believe, called First Amendment, that I have a right to believe what I want to believe. So how are you going to take that from me? That makes no sense, because you go against even your own laws, statutes, and commandments. We, as Hebrew Israelites, have a separate holy law and understanding of what we need to be and how we're supposed to think and what we're supposed to believe according to our Constitution and amendment called the Holy Scriptures. However, Israel is so swayed by the other nations, especially Esau, Edom, so-called white man, to say, no, you can't believe in what you perceive to be the truth. Believe what I tell you to believe, and you would be far better off. There was this situation in Stockholm, Sweden, where there was a bank robbery. This is where we get Stockholm Syndrome from, in which the hostages defended their captives after being released and would not agree to testify in court against the bank robbers. It was noted in that case that the police were perceived to have acted with little care to the hostages' safety, providing an alternative reasoning for their unwillingness to testify. Stockholm Syndrome is a paradox because the sympathizers' beliefs that the captives feel towards their captors are the opposite of the fear and disdain which an onlooker might feel towards the captives. Meaning, paradox is a statement contrary to common belief or expectations. It's not what you believe or how you see it, is how I feel and how I see it. Syndrome, right? Stockholm syndrome is symptoms or a number of symptoms occurring together, right? Syndrome. A number of symptoms occurring together, concurrent of symptoms, concourse of people, a place where several roads meet. These symptoms that the captors are all coming together with one mind frame of what they believe. So a symptom or a syndrome is not wrong, it's just the way things come together. So walk with me. The key components of the syndrome of Stockholm is the hostage's development of positive feelings towards their captive, towards their captor. They start to empathize and sympathize with the people who who captured them or hold them captive. A person would say, man, how can you have sympathy for the people who held you down? Well, people do. People have sympathy for their captors. Another characteristic of Stockholm Syndrome is that no previous relationship between the hostage and the captive. This never happened before. We were never together. Now all of a sudden, we're together. A refusal by the hostages to cooperate with authorities and government authorities. They refused to say anything wrong with the ones who was treating them in this hostage situation. No, we're not going to testify against them. No, they are friends. We understand. They have issues. They have problems. A hostage belief in the humanity of the captor, ceasing to perceive them as a threat when the victim holds the same value as the aggressor. The victim holds the same values as his aggressor. Start to think like them, be like them, walk like them, talk like them, look like them. It's called assimilation. Our people, the Hebrew Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, suffer from these syndromes. And more specifically, this Stockholm Syndrome, where you do the research on Stockholm Syndrome and it's like, well, I could see it. I could see why our people want to be like Americans, talk like Americans, think like Americans, so they assimilate themselves. So when we read the history of the Greeks did the same thing to the Israelites. Assimilate them into their culture, where it was against the law to call yourself a Hebrew Israelite or Israelite or Jew, where you had to be what they are to survive, to get. This is happening up until this day, where all the roads of Greek society or Esau society or the white man society come together where you need to be. Well, why does the Lord say different? We seen in the 60s integration. Same situation. We were being separated from Americans or American dream, the American dream, and we wanted part of it. So in order to get down, we as a people had to lay down. Let's get this history. Jeremiah. It's not uncommon. Jeremiah, and I bring out this so much on the highways and byways because it just hits home and it shows the mindset of our nation, of our people. Jeremiah 44:15, it says, Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us, in the name of Yahweh, we will not hearken unto thee. But we will certainly do whatsoever things go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. As we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, for then had we plenty victuals and were well and saw no evil. I didn't know there was a queen of heaven. I thought there was a king in heaven. I didn't know it was a her. I thought it was a he. The other nations said, lay down to the queen instead of your king. And what did the men say? Yeah, we know what our women and wives are doing. We won't listen to you, Jeremiah. They wanted to be assimilated into the Greek society, into the Babylonian society, into the Egyptian society, into all other nations' gods instead of their own, because they believed they will be in good case. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and to pour out drink offerings to her without our men? What? Yeah. You see the next title, the calamity for the Jews. This is what happens when you assimilate. Your nations get destroyed. You have your own set of rules, statutes, and commandments, judgment. But what you believe is that the other nations' ways are better and have sympathy for their nation, have sympathy for their ways, where you become like them, think like them, walk and talk like them. What did the Lord say? Exodus 20:2, he says, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. So you putting the queen before the king. Well, that's backwards. That's not the correct order according to the scriptures. You're not supposed to be this way. The other nations can do that, can be that. We, as Hebrew Israelites, can't do that. And it's going to come a time in the near future where it's going to happen again. We're not supposed to be out of order when the Lord comes back. 1 Corinthians 11, chapter 11, verse 3. It says, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahweh, not the queen of heaven. The head of the woman is the man. And the head of Yahweh is the Heavenly Father." This is the proper order in which you're supposed to be. The New Covenant or the New Testament is a guide or a prelude for how you're supposed to think, walk, talk, and be before the Messiah returns. Everyone is against our purpose. Every nation is against our ways. When we're down, they're up. When they're prospering, right, we're down. That's out of order, according to the scriptures. We don't need their ways. Their ways destroy our purpose. Let's get this. Ezra, 4th chapter, 1st verse. It says, "Now when the adversaries of Judah," so Judah has adversaries, "and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity built the temple unto the Yahweh, our power of Yasha'Allah, then they came to Zerubbabel and the chief of the fathers and said unto them," talking about the adversaries, "Let us build with you, for we seek your God, as you do. And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Ashurhadon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither." We want to get down with you and praise your God. But Zerubbabel, the governor, and Jeshua, and the rest of the chiefs of the fathers of Israel said unto them, "You have nothing to do with us to build a house to our God, to our power. But we ourselves together will build unto Yahweh, the power of Israel, as King Cyrus and king of Persia has commanded us." The king at that time was Cyrus of Persia, and he granted the Israelites to go back and build their temple to their God. But the adversaries who did not like Israel to have their freedom tried to frustrate our purpose. Why? Can't we do what we do? You do what you do? Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building. Why? Why? I'm doing my thing. You do your thing. Why you need to trouble us? Why you want to get involved with us? Don't you understand that we have our own gods, we have our own laws, statutes, and commandments that we follow to govern our people? We good. And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose. Again, why? All the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia, about 40 years. 40 years, they want to frustrate our purpose. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, right, in the beginning of his reign, that's Xerxes, wrote unto them, or wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. Now you coming up with lies. This is what you call wanting us to assimilate, wanting us to be like them, and them to be like us. Them to be like us and us to be like them. All one big happy family. We are holy people. We are separate from the ways of the other nations. Why? What? Just why? Question. Psalms. It's always why. See that? The title, The Reign of the Lord's Anointed. It didn't say the reign of the Lord's everyone. The anointed is the Israelites. Psalms 2:1, it said, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? We're all just one. And the kings of the earth set themselves against the rulers. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord is laughing. What are you thinking? What is this? The Lord shall have them, the adversaries, in derision, confusion. This is where you belong. You don't understand that who we are, what our purpose is to him. You make it seem like everyone's included. No, everyone is not included. Everyone does not share in the inheritance of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It does not work this way. The Lord made specific for specific. Simple as that. It's just as simple as that. So let's go back. We're going to go to Acts. I'm going to close it up. The book of Acts 24. I'm going to start at 1. Now, this is Paul before Felix. Right? It says, and after 5 days, Ananias the high priest descended with the elders and with a certain orator named Tertullus, who informed the governor against Paul. See, even it's always some adversary. Anyway, it says, and he began, and when he was called forth, Tertullus began to accuse him, saying, seeing that by these we enjoy great quietness, and that very worthy deeds are done unto this nation by thy providence. We accept it always, and in all places, most noble Felix, with all thankfulness. Your kingdom and the way you govern and the way you rule, we just love it. Notwithstanding that I be not further tedious unto thee, I pray thee, that thou wouldest hear us of the clemency a few words. Let me tell you a little something about this, Paul. We love quietness, but Paul is trying to make noise. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow, and a mover of sedition again among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of Nazarenes, them damn black Hebrew Israelites of the 90s. We're their problem. Who also have gone about to profane the temple, whom we took and would have judged according to our law. But the chief captain Lysias came upon us, and with great violence took him out of the way of our hands, took him out of our hands. Or we would have dealt with him, this Paul. But the captain snatched him up, commending his accusers to come unto thee, by examining of whom thyself mayest take knowledge, and of all these things whereof we accuse him. This is why we bring him forth to you. And all the Jews also assented, saying that these things were so. That's the multitude coming together like-minded against Paul, against the Lord's anointed, being adversarial to Israel's ways. Then Paul, after that the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered, For as much as I know that thou hast been of many years a judge unto this nation, I do the more cheerfully answer for myself, because that thou mayest understand that there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for to worship. And they neither found me in the temple disputing with any man, neither raising up people, neither in the synagogues nor in the city. Lies, I tell you, just lies. Neither can they prove the things whereof they now accuse me. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers, the power of my fathers. This is what I do. Believe in all things which are written in the law and in the prophets, and have hope towards the heavenly Father, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust. And herein do I exercise myself, to have always a conscience void of offense towards God and towards men. So what are they talking about? I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. The question is, are they? Now, after many years, I came to bring alms to my nation and offerings, whereupon certain Jews from Asia found me purified in the temple, neither with multitude nor with tumult, who ought to have been here before thee an object if they had aught against me. They would have been witnesses if I've done these things. Or else let these same here say, if they have found any evil doing in me while I stood before the council, except it be for this one voice that I cried standing among them, touching the resurrection of the dead, I am called in question by you this day. I'm just speaking on the subject. I didn't have nobody rise up with me in the temple causing malice. And when Felix heard these things, having more perfect knowledge of that way, he deferred them and said, When Lysias the chief captain shall come down, I will know the uttermost of your matter. He is the witness of what you accuse to them or to him. And he commanded a centurion to keep Paul and to let him have liberty, and that he should forbid none of his acquaintance to minister or come unto him, right? Separate him. Don't let nobody come unto him. And after a few days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewish, he sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith in Hamashiach Yahushua. And he reasoned of righteousness, temperance, and judgment to come. Felix trembled and answered, Go thy way for this time. When I have convenient season, I will call for thee. I can't do it right now. Let's defer. Like they do in the court. I just can't hear right now. Let's set the hearing for another time. He had hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him, whereof he sent for him the oftener and communed with them. But after 2 years, Porcius Festus came into Felix's room, and Felix, willing to show the Jews a pleasure, left Paul bound. Damn, I don't know what to do. What am I to do? This is what they are saying of us today. We have no real accusation other than some conjure up lies, some accusation without evidence. And the judge of this land don't know what the hell to do. This is where we frustrate their purpose to cause them to be in derision. By what? By the truth that we speak out the Holy Scriptures, right? The laws and the prophets and the Psalms concerning Yahushua. These things was going to happen. That we was going to frustrate their purpose and them trying to frustrate our purpose, but our purpose is of the prophecy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua coming to take down all his enemies, the enemies of his people, the enemies of his power, his God, and set up a righteous kingdom here on earth. This is why we give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua for these words. That Stockholm Syndrome ain't on us. It's on them who want to be assimilated into a wicked society that will be destroyed. You want to be with them? You're going to die with them. We say peace and shalom.